gentlemen, we are back and we're better than ever. Goonally Meads, joined by the poshest man in sports entertainment for the second time today. Posh Bertie, how have you been in the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's been very good. Got a glass of water. Apart from, though, hearing the news that Kent are getting thrashed by Somerset in the T20. But I think we've talked enough about cricket today already. Don't think I'll be going to Birmingham this year, I don't think. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm all right. Apart from that, had a good stream on Twitch.
We did.
How are you? Last 10 minutes.
And do you know where they can find that Twitch stream, Posh?
On twitch.tv/Gooner Gathering.
Ding!
Which some of you might be watching from now, because this is going live on Twitch.
It certainly is. It certainly is. We had a lot of fun discussing a very historical wrestling match a little while ago. But don't tell Vince McMahon or anyone involved in that company. But, ladies and gentlemen, why we are all Gooner gathered here today is one Cesc Fabregas, I'll say young because he is young compared to me. The young man, 36 years old, has announced his retirement.
He's older than you. You're 20. You're 22.
I wish, sir. I wish.
That's what you told me.
That is not true. I got my passport out to prove it.
Oh,
hang on. Running. Gong.
Yeah, sorry.
The Undertaker's about to make an
appearance. I had to twist it a little bit. There you go. Hopefully it's all right. It's not Richard Keys making my life a living hell again.
No. Right, are we done with the technical issues now? I'm going to be a professional broadcaster here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. As you know, we are. And if you are watching us, please give your thoughts, opinions on Cesc Fabregas. He might divide the opinion a little bit on the fan base, but please leave a comment. Please leave a like, share and subscribe and all that jazz. That would be marvellous. Thank you very much. We appreciate every single one of you. And that's the truth, right? Cesc announced his retirement at 36 years old this week. In 212 appearances at Arsenal, he scored 35 goals. We won't go through every single one of them. He's one player that I really have a real fondness in my heart for, mainly because I was there for his first team debut. But let's not forget, he was an academy boy at Barcelona, signed in the summer of 2003. If you recall, our midfield at that time was really dominated by Vieira and Gilberto Silva. And the first team debut happened. I was there at Highbury. It was the 28th of October in a incredible it might not sound the most glamorous of cup ties, but Arsenal versus Rotherham United, boys and girls. It was an absolute banger. It was an epic game. All right. I'm overhyping it a little bit. I'm doing the Paul Heyman role a little bit, okay? But
like Paul Heyman when he was talking about Curtis Axel, trying to hype up something, which was a bit,
I believe that might be Sam Wilson's dad there. Hello, Steve Wilson.
Hello, Steve.
Good to see you. Good. But so the game was 1-0 to Arsenal. I remember Darren Byfield equalising for Rotherham in the 90th minute. So I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a very long night. But it was worth it because we went through the extra time. We went to penalties. Sylvain Wiltord missed the penalty, the opening penalty. But we were in for an absolute treat because it went all the way through. So the whole 11 players took penalties. Oh, hello.
Hello. Oh, my God.
How did I teleport over here?
Go on. Continue.
So, went to Wiltord again. And he scored the winning penalty to get us through that tie, which led us to another cup tie. I was very much, we spoke about the League Cup a little bit, Posh, and how very much in years gone by,
There we
that
go. I fixed it.
that Arsenal very much played youth sides and reserve sort of players. And we had a little discussion. I'll bring you into this bit. Now, how as we come into this season that starts in in August, your thoughts in terms of that competition, and would you be wanting to play first team players here or what?
I mean, if we get teams, if we get like home to a League Two or League One side, or if we get a league, if we get a side like that, you can get away with it, and you can try and get some young talent in there that want to impress and try and break through the ranks. You can get away with that. If we're playing teams like Chelsea or Man City, then playing the likes of we don't know if they'll do it. It's a lottery really, but playing people like Ruel Walters and Cozy Dubry and all these people against teams like Man City, bit of a risk. And when the vast majority of the fan base are expecting us to get some silverware this season, we've got to try and I mean, it's an issue with a smaller squad, but you do got to try and we got to try and not throw the cup competitions away like last season.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think in terms of strength of squad, we are live here on Sunday night for anyone who sees us on demand. Declan Rice hasn't been officially announced yet. I think they're closing down some of the Arsenal tours for tomorrow. I wonder, why would they be closing down some of the stadium tomorrow? For an Arsenal event is the official wording. This is something that's going around. So look, we'll see what happens there.
All right,
but I don't think if Rice comes in, I don't think that's going to be the end of building the squad up. I really don't. It can't be, because there's got to be a lot more to be done. But this is what we were doing back in this sort of this time frame. We were playing a lot of very young players, and in the next round of this competition, we had another home tie. I was there for that one as well, and it was a home tie against Wolverhampton Wanderers. It was another win for the Gooners, and in that game, Cesc became our youngest ever goal scorer. This was, of course, part of the Invincible campaign in the league, but Cesc was still very much a very young guy. He was, did I say his age when he debuted? He was 16 years, 177 days. So he was a mere young'un. Yeah, exactly. So he never really he never got the medal for the winning the title, but he played more regularly in the season afterwards, after plenty of injuries in our midfield to the likes of Vieira, Silva, and Edu. In the October, I want to say, I think it was October. Anyway, he scored in the Premier League. It was a 3-0 win against Blackburn, which made him the youngest Premier League scorer in that period. And then, of course, we're coming on to 2004. This is something we spoke about off air briefly, wasn't it? We can't talk about Cesc Fabregas without the infamous Battle of the Buffet. The
Pizzagate.
Absolutely. So, of course, we're referring at the end of the Invincible run, and it was at Old Trafford. United had beaten us 2-0.
Good to see you in the
Arsenal
chat.
forever, welcome, and it's nice to see you here. I was ever so worried that I had upset you in our last stream, so I'm very pleased to see you here. So nice to have you here. What's your favourite Cesc Fabregas goal? Mine was against Tottenham in 2010, and the goal in the San Siro in the Champions League. I know exactly. Wasn't that the game he assisted Henry in as well against Juventus? That's why I think it is.
Considering it was the San Siro.
Oh,
one of the Milan teams.
yeah, it's probably a good point. Yeah. Fair play. Yeah, I misread that. Sorry, Posh Bertie. Off script. Sorry.
Don't
Do you
go
know
off
my
scripted,
favourite?
brother.
One of my favourites, and it's for the strength of him being as a captain there as well, was when he scored that penalty against Barcelona in the match that we've spoken about on a previous Desert Island Kickabout, because he was so determined to put that penalty away, and then he realised, oh bother, my leg's broken. But the goal against Tottenham, wasn't that the one from a Spurs kickoff, and they went backwards, and Fabregas intercepted it, and he banged it in?
I presume, because I know there was a fixture in like late 2010 where we lost 3-2, which I don't really want to talk about. So I'm going to presume this is the 2009-10 season, the last time we went to the Champions League quarterfinals.
Yeah. I'm going to presume it probably is, because it's the one that instantly comes to my mind.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone who's jumping in the chat, by the way. There's lots of numbers coming in now, so nice to have you all here. We will be as professional as we possibly can right now then. Okay? So we were talking the Battle of the Buffet, the pizza throne of Sir Alex Ferguson revealed himself hilariously, you remember this, Posh, on the episode of The League of Their Own. But do you
back
recall
when Jake Gordon was actually funny?
It was. I mean, we're not condoning that sort of behaviour. Good evening to Niall Kane, but it was pretty funny. But Arsenal did get
Sir Alex
the revenge.
got that red nose. It was a bit of a strong hit.
He got him right in the pepperoni. But Arsenal did get a bit of revenge on United that season, of course, by winning the FA Cup on penalties. It was the 0-0 draw, and did Cesc take one in that shootout? I'm not sure if he did, but we certainly won it with Patrick Vieira's last kick for the club. That's a fact, because we recall we sold him there, didn't we?
Yeah, and that was the last time we won a trophy in a while.
It was.
Had to wait quite a few years for the next time we lifted a trophy.
And of course, we're talking at that period, moving to the Emirates Stadium in the summer of 2006. Cesc took his iconic number 4 shirt and really impressed. Arsenal Forever already mentioned some of the Champions League games. So it would. I mean, I've got written down in my notes certainly the Real Madrid game and the Juventus game. The Juventus I've mentioned briefly, when he scored the first goal, set up Thierry Henry for the second goal. And then, of course, we went over to the final.
You mentioned because the Real Madrid game, was that the Henry one? At the Bernabeu?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, but yeah, played in the final against Barcelona. Of course, we all know what happened in that final. Arsenal did go ahead, but it was always against us, especially with Big Jens. Crazy Jens got sent off. Yeah. And the 2-1 defeat in the end of it. But
we were like 20 minutes away from winning the Champions League, though.
So close.
And it all happened, and so close, but yet so far, which is a bit of a theme for Arsenal, isn't it?
Yeah. Sol Campbell, of course, was the goal scorer for Gunners. If you remember that, anyone who's very young might not know that. But,
again, I was a bit too young, but I know of the match.
And I know heartbreaking, mate. Absolutely heartbreaking. But we are talking sort of the next thing I've got written down in my notes is that he was made club captain. This was succeeding William Gallas. I can't remember exactly the circumstances. I'm sure you might remember the incident of William Gallas having the sit-down protest at St Andrews, Birmingham, on that horrible day when Eduardo got injured.
Yes.
Didn't really act like a captain that day, I don't think. But
no.
But yeah, he was made skipper that time. Do you have any memories of him as a skipper here? Do you remember him much as a captain? I know
In
you've
like
been young, mate.
in the late 2000s, yeah, because like I said, it was around it
Hmm.
was 2007 when I got into football with
Yeah.
Arsenal United, Henry scoring the winner. That was the first game I watched.
Hmm.
But yeah, did he play in that match? He probably did. Yeah, I didn't really take notice of people with the captain's armband. I know if you're captain, it means you're leading the team, but
Hmm.
I Arsenal have their fair share of captains, so. But yeah, I know Fabregas was one of them. And hello, Jez. Good
Jez,
evening.
I tell you what, Jez, if you wanted to join us, my friend, I'll throw the link in. We'll throw the link in because Jez is far more qualified than any of us to talk about anything like this. So I'm on the admin pod.
Oh, no worries. It'd be good to have Jez on. Haven't had him
Oh,
on in
I
a
haven't
while.
spoken to
So,
Jez in ages. It'd be so good to see him. Here we go. It's in. There it is. There it is. So
yeah, no, I do. Obviously, I do remember him playing for us in my first few years of the experience of football. And yeah, he was a very good player, wasn't he?
he was, and do you know what? I think he's still, even by this day, I believe, he's still in the all-time list, second overall of getting the assists, only to Ryan Giggs, name redacted perhaps of these days, but yeah, he certainly made an impact. Of course, he left the club in August of 2011 to rejoin his boyhood club Barcelona. That was a bit of a shame. But I think young, he was a Spanish lad.
He was
I'm
linked
sure he
with them
would.
in 2010, so he kind of had him for one more year, and then obviously the transfer happened and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. But we did have that opportunity to potentially sign him off Barca, didn't he? When he joined Chelsea. Do you think
Yeah,
that
I'm
was a
sure
missed
many fans
opportunity?
were. Huh?
Do you think it was a missed opportunity?
To recite, yeah, I do. I think if he was available and he was up for sale, that could have been good. But I think people still had a lot of fans still had that Judas mindset about him, didn't they? When he left for Barcelona, it was a shame, obviously, to see him, especially sign for a rival. And of course, let's not forget he won the league with them in his first season there. Made incredible assists that season. I remember, I think it was against Burnley, chipped it for Diego Costa, I think it was. Beautiful assist from him. And yeah, so I think it was a bit of a missed opportunity. Him and Alexis Sanchez, the two Barca boys, it could have been something, but it is what it is.
Exactly. We did see him back at Arsenal during the season just gone, doing a bit of coaching, of course. It was nice to see him alongside Jack Wilshere for a little bit.
So do you think that's where he'll be? Do you think he'll get a coaching role, perhaps in our team, or do you think he'll do something else?
He has been appointed, Posh. I might butcher the pronunciation here, but it's spelt like Lomo, Lomo. I believe that's where he ended his career. I think he might have been playing there a little bit. He's going to be the under-19s, and he's going to be the B team manager. So, but who knows? Who knows in the future? Like I said, he's only 36 years old, so he's quite similar in terms of age, sort of a little bit younger than Arteta, for example. I'm not saying he's going to replace Arteta yet, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, there's every chance you could see him. I suppose he's doing his apprenticeship, if you like, learning the ropes, doing the management that way.
Yeah,
and I do want to say,
he's not getting thrown in the deep end just yet.
Unlike a certain Spanish manager that is in charge of us right now.
Yeah.
But what I will say is it was ever so nice to see him back at Connolly doing the training with Jack amongst the younger kids as well. he would have been doing his badges and all that sort of thing. Would have been not. It's nice to see that sort of him sort of wanting to give back something. I think. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't I say that Cesc's going to be involved in the game for Ukraine coming up on the day before the charity community shield thing?
I think he
pretty
might
sure.
be one of those players. Yeah, I can't really remember. You mentioned this. I've heard of it, but I don't know much of who's involved and everything.
It's ringing in my brain, so I'll presume I'm right until proven otherwise. But yeah, that's pretty much how I've at the end of my notes here. What I will say is that he's certainly up there in terms of one of the greatest talents I think we had, and I certainly have a massive affinity with him as a young player who made his debut in front of my very eyes. Meant a lot to me, and you know, it's just nice to say wish him all the best. Sad in a way, because he might have still had some more miles on the tank, but you know, if he's got this opportunity to move in a different direction on his career, and good luck to him. Anything more you want to add? Because I've got one more thing which is not connected to Cesc, but I do want to bring it up.
Okay, let me think. I can't think of anything. Of course, he was part of you mentioned a game against Barcelona. He was part of the team that I included in one of my Desert Island Gigabout matches, the 2-1, the Arshavin goal.
Game, yeah.
He did
a fabulous game that was.
Brilliant midfielder there. He was for us rather than Barcelona this time. And controlled the midfield very well, and it was a brilliant game. I remember it vividly. Did you mention what your favourite Fabregas goal was of all time that Arsenal forever asked? Or
the one I said, the one that's most in my brain is the penalty that you just mentioned in that game.
Oh, okay. Was it he didn't score a penalty in that game.
The penalty he did score in that in a Champions League game against Barcelona. I'm pretty sure
was it the one at the new camp?
The
loss, because it was Van Persie, I think, scored, and then Arshavin, because we didn't score a penalty. Because
I'm sure it would have been at home. Sure, it's at home.
Because I remember I watched the highlights a lot occasionally, but we didn't score a penalty in that game. But
breaking news, and I mentioned this guy's name literally seconds ago. Patrick Vieira has just been appointed manager at Strasbourg. Not Strasbourg, Steve, but he's been just been
in Strasbourg, the team that Chelsea have got links to now.
Absolutely. Fabrizio Romaro's just broken that news above my stream here on the thing. I think we might be wrapping up, Jez, in a minute, but I'll tell you what, we'll definitely speak to you very, very soon. I'll give you a message on your Instagram. I tell you what I'd like to do, Jez. Next time I'll talk to you, maybe we can do a Desert Island Kickabout with you. We'll do a special.
I'd love to see that.
So do I, because in the YouTube game, there's not many people who go, or know their history about the club more than Jez, quite honestly. So perhaps that may be one that we can do. Maybe in the week coming up, we'll say. I'll give him a message on Instagram. But the other bit of what I wanted to talk about very briefly, obviously, Matt Roberts was very kind enough to drop us a ladies' update on the channel yesterday. What I was going to bring up was there was a warm-up game yesterday, and it was between England and Portugal for, this is their first game they would have played in probably about a month or so. Played at MK Dons. It wasn't very memorable, I'll be honest. It was a 0-0 draw. Noticeable for Stanway and Lucy Bronze hitting the woodwork. Rachel Daly played as a striker rather than playing at left back, which she's done a little bit. Brilliant. Thank you, Jez. But other than her name has just escaped me, but it's the Manchester City left-sided midfield player. Looked really quick. Name's gone, sorry, because I haven't got it written down. But it was a good warm-up nonetheless. We didn't get quite into our rhythm, perhaps, but having such a big old gap, it was good to get a competitive game in. I think England had about 16, 17 shots on target. Keeper kept everything out. Portugal didn't really threaten much. But this is the first step towards the World Cup in Australia and in New Zealand. And I believe the tournament starts in about 3 weeks' time.
I don't know what we're going to do in terms of content for that, because obviously in terms of doing watch-alongs, it's in Australia and the games will be like 10 in the morning. Absolutely not. I like my lie-ins on the weekends. Thank you very much.
Soon I'll be working. So,
yeah.
But what I will do...
I might wake up in time for the final. So if the Lionesses are in there, of course. But
cool.
We'll see.
What I will make sure we will do, if nothing else, I'm sure myself and Matt, probably
Matt and
Sam as well,
are the guys for this.
We're the guys to try and cover this as we can. Probably in our evening slot of 7 o'clock, probably. But I will confirm everything on our social medias, which you can find about there.
There you go.
It's clever how we did that, wasn't it?
Seamless.
Absolutely seamless. So I really enjoyed doing this quick little throwback to looking at Cesc Fabregas at Arsenal in his career there, wishing him all the best. If you've been watching our stream either live or on demand, please give us a little like, cost you nothing. Give us a subscribe. We appreciate it. Helps our numbers on the channel incredibly. So thank you for being here. Posh, where can they find you on Twitter if it hasn't blown up by now?
When your rate limit hasn't expired, you can follow me on Twitter at PoshBertie, and you can follow me on Instagram at BertieOneless. I would like to add one more thing, though. Just a little thing. I'm bringing back this because yesterday we played a friendly, and you won't believe the kickoff time, 10:45. I know, right? I don't know, but actually, maybe it should be the kickoff time more often. We played a friendly against Punjab United, which are a local Kent team, 6-0. And some of our new players scored, which was very good. Anyway, that's me. That's my Ebbsfleet thing talking about. You were saying, socials?
Love to see it. Thank you, Posh. Always want to throw a curveball. You can find me at Goonerly Mead. You can find the channel at Gooner Gathering on Twitter. We're also there on TikTok at Gooner Gathering. Be prepared to see us. I might set up an Instagram account at some stage just in case Twitter does implode. But until next time, and maybe we will resurface next week, potentially with the great Jez Collins with us, doing a Desert Island Kickabout. Let's do that. I hope we can, because it will be so much fun. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your evenings. Take care of yourselves, and we shall see you next time.